Hello everyone, and welcome to my Bold and Beautiful Today channel. Ridge's continued preference for Taylor over Brooke breaks her heart. Eric Forrester was certain that his son would be unable to avoid the recollections if Brooke Logan was the star of the most recent Forrester Creations fashion show. They both thought Ridge Forrester would break out and go back to his Logan when Eric updated that notorious Portofino dress that Brooke had worn so many years ago. It was the showstopper that blew Ridge away. Ridge did have a ton of recollections when he saw Brooke in that dress. He merely felt deceived when she became the CEO of Forrester Creations during a hostile takeover, but he never stopped loving her. Ridge's ego still finds it difficult to forgive the alleged love of his life, despite the fact that everything works out in the end and the business is once again in the right hands. Over the past 30 years, the pair has broken up multiple times, but they have always eventually reconciled. They have a design like that, and Brooke and Eric thought she would look good in this dress. Ridge experienced all of the feelings and the magic of the moment, but this time he isn't giving in. Ridge makes the decision to keep his promise to Taylor. Ridge has a reputation for switching between Brooke and Taylor Hayes, his ex-wife. Every breakup with Brooke is followed by a rebound reconciliation with Taylor, which this time took place in a matter of hours. Ridge hurried back to Taylor, jumped into her bed, and got to work planning their future right away. Before he made the decision to keep his word for the first time in his life, everything transpired so quickly that Ridge had no chance of staying with her. Ridge isn't going to abandon Taylor this time just because he saw his Logan wearing that dress. Rather, he is dragging his heels and reminding Brooke and Eric that he is in a relationship right now. For the first time in his life, Ridge isn't going to leave her for Brooke, even if Taylor was beginning to feel insecure after realizing the obvious. Not yet, anyhow. What is your prediction for the duration of Taylor and Ridge's current romance? With his outrageous proposal to Taylor, Ridge shocks everyone and dashes Brooke's hopes. Is Ridge going to finally commit to keeping his detractors quiet? A startling new twist could be imminent in the Bold and the Beautiful's never-ending tale of love, treachery, and dramatic fashion displays. And this one is a doozy, I promise. With Brooke Logan and Eric Forrester pressuring him to resume his romance with Brooke, Ridge Forrester seems to be at the end of his rope. Brooke and Eric's meddling help Ridge get to his breaking point. For weeks now, the tension has been rising. Does anyone pay attention to Ridge's repeated declarations that he prefers Taylor Hayes to Brooke? Obviously not. While Brooke doesn't believe that it's really ended, Eric continues to insist on a Ridge-Brooke reunion as if it were his personal mission. Ridge maintained to Brooke that the sensational moment at the fashion show, which, let's not forget, Brooke planned, was just that, a moment. Not much more. Ridge is fed up, though, and Brooke and Eric won't back down. This is when things start to get interesting. Because Ridge hasn't formally committed to Taylor, Eric recently implied that their relationship isn't serious. Eric, you made a huge error. Large. The desperate action that has the power to alter everything. Ridge Forrester goes nuclear instead of simply pushing back when he feels cornered. This pattern is not new to us. He frequently makes ostentatious, dramatic motions to disprove everyone when he is under pressure or ridiculed. What is a fashion mogul with a convoluted romantic life supposed to do? Of course, make a proposal. Yes, exactly. All indications suggest that Ridge chose to ask Taylor to marry him, not necessarily because he is confident she is his fate but rather to make a statement. A large, ostentatious, diamond ring-sized declaration that was specifically designed to permanently silence Brooke and Eric. Consider it. In essence, a proposal would dash Brooke's aspirations for a reunion. It would demonstrate to Eric his seriousness for Taylor. Most significantly, it would demonstrate to everyone that Ridge is independent and unyielding. Taylor's response might make all the difference. What will Taylor do if Ridge does drop on one knee? She is not a fool, she has dealt with Ridge Forrester before. Will she doubt his intentions? Most likely. Will she be concerned that he's not asking her to marry him? Of course. Will she ultimately say yes, though? For decades, Taylor has been in love with Ridge. she has never completely moved on from him, even after all the heartache and disappointment. The temptation to finally become Mrs. Forrester again may be too great to resist, even if she has a suspicion that this proposal isn't only motivated by his unwavering love for her. Is history being repeated? Historical tragedies and disasters. Remember that Ridge and Taylor would be attending the altar for the second time. Their past nuptials have been nothing short of spectacular. Do you recall when Brooke interrupted their ceremony to reveal she was expecting? A true showstopper, indeed. Furthermore, when Steffi Forrester disclosed that Thomas had set Brooke up with the fictitious CPS call, their wedding disintegrated. For decades, the Ridge-Taylor-Brooke triangle has been in action. It resembles an endless cycle of heartache, love, and disastrous weddings. Therefore, history indicates that even if Ridge pops the question and Taylor accepts, there may be significant drama involved. Returning Nick Marone could turn everything over. Things start to get very interesting at this point. In June, Nick Marone will make his way back to Los Angeles. And when he gets there, Brooke will be at his lowest point, according to trustworthy sources. Brooke would undoubtedly be upset if Ridge made a proposal to Taylor, wouldn't it? However, this already tangled situation becomes much more complicated with Nick's homecoming. How would Ridge respond if Brooke begins to rely on Nick for help and perhaps even rekindles their previous romance? Ridge can be possessive, as we all know. Even if he has picked Taylor, he can get extremely envious if he sees Brooke with another man, particularly Nick. Is it possible that Ridge and Taylor's July sweeps wedding could fall apart when Ridge finds he can't stomach seeing Brooke with someone else? Ridge's decision to leave a woman at the altar due to his emotions for another would not be the first time. Implications for Bold and Beautiful's future. Months of dramatic narrative are set up if Ridge does pop the question to Taylor in response to pressure from Brooke and Eric. We may witness family strife, wedding preparations. I imagine Steffi would be overjoyed, but Brooke's clan would be upset, and, at the end, the issue of whether Ridge and Taylor will truly say I do this time. However, let's face it, in the soap opera industry, partnerships based on animosity rarely endure. It's a recipe for catastrophe if Ridge asks Taylor to marry him largely to silence his detractors rather than out of genuine love. Taylor, poor guy. Is she worthy of being someone's showpiece instead of their actual love? Taylor deserves a man who chooses her first, not in response to someone else, after everything she's been through. Just delayed or denied destiny? It has always been Brooke's belief that she and Ridge are meant to be together. It would appear that a Ridge-Taylor engagement would reject that fate. However, destiny has a way of resurfacing in the soap opera world, typically at the most dramatic point. I wouldn't be shocked if Ridge pulled a traditional soap opera maneuver and left Taylor standing there when he realized he couldn't carry out the wedding if they make it to the altar in July. Particularly if he has been observing Brooke's relationship with Nick. However, perhaps this time, Taylor will be the one to go, finally understanding that she is worthy of more than being Ridge's second choice or his public declaration. In any case, the Bold and the Beautiful summer plot is set up for tremendous drama with this possible proposal. Personally, I'm eager to watch how everything turns out. Brooke receives 4 crushing blows, and B set up their next romantic interest. According to teasers for the Bold and the Beautiful, Brooke Logan is about to get 4 devastating punches, so she will undoubtedly feel the pain. Here's how B&B will set up Brooke's next romantic interest as her life will take some unexpected turns before a shocking romance. 1. Ridge declines a second reunion with Brooke. First, Ridge Forrester will once more decline a reconciliation with Brooke. Things will get more disastrous and embarrassing the more Ridge rejects Brooke. Ridge doesn't think it was genuine and will keep putting the brakes on any reunion attempts, but Brooke felt the showstopper brought back some old magic on stage. Ridge might abruptly inform Brooke that they will never be able to reconcile at some point. 2. Ridge asks Taylor to marry him. Then, every indication suggests that Taylor Hayes will get a lavish marriage proposal. Given that Eric Forrester downplayed his commitment to Taylor without an engagement to support it, Ridge is probably going to take his remarks seriously. Ridge should show his commitment to Taylor by crushing Brooke when he proposes, as it appears probable that he will do it again. 3. The wedding day of Taylor and Ridge. Ridge and Taylor might then begin preparing for their wedding. Ridge and Taylor will most likely plan their wedding day and make plans for a happy life together, whether or not they actually carry out the ceremony. Brooke will suffer from that and become closer to her lowest point. Brooke will undoubtedly suffer as a result of having to witness Ridge's genuine transition. 4. Brooke acknowledges her mistake regarding fate. Brooke will eventually come to terms with the possibility that she was mistaken to believe Ridge would be her fate. Brooke will find it quite difficult to let go of that idea after holding on to it for so long. But in order to prepare for Nick Marone's return on June 13th, all of these actions are required. Brooke will require romantic guidance that does not involve pursuing Ridge, thus Nick will return at the ideal moment. According to spoilers for The Bold and the Beautiful, Nick will assist Brooke in updating her romantic life, thus these past lovers will eventually rejoice over reunion news. Thomas is a part of Brooke's ultimate retaliation. According to teasers for The Bold and the Beautiful, Brooke Logan will surprise everyone with her next move. This is because she will exact her final retribution on Ridge Forrester, her lover and spouse who has been in and out of her life. Thomas is a part of Brooke's ultimate retaliation. The woman's patience with the man is limited, particularly given that he has been alternating between her and Taylor Hayes for the past few years. However, Brooke has had enough. She will no longer endure such humiliation. Because of this, spoilers for The Bold and the Beautiful indicate that she will go straight for Thomas Forrester when he returns, which he will. Brooke and Thomas haven't always had the best relationship, as many fans of B&B are aware. Brooke actually holds Thomas accountable for all of the instances in which he inflicted such suffering on her daughter Hope Logan. Brooke even holds Thomas accountable for Hope's mental health issues. However, things will be a little different this time. The reason for this is that she intends to make Thomas her next love interest. Ridge may open his eyes the instant he witnesses his ex-wife having sex with his son, if he is unable to recognize what he is losing by not being with her. Brooke will play her cards correctly. Let's just say that this is going to be one of the soap opera's most controversial plots in a long time. And Brooke will ultimately get precisely what she wants if she plays her cards well, and who knows if it will be Ridge or even Thomas at this stage. Fans of B&B will, of course, need to watch every single day to see what happens next. Does Nick do better with Brooke, Taylor, or someone else? Fans last saw Nick Marone on the Los Angeles-based CBS soap opera 13 years ago, according to spoilers for The Bold and the Beautiful. With the handsome man's summer comeback, that is about to change. The show's top ladies will undoubtedly give a man this attractive and talented second looks, and many fans believe he will get back together with his ex-wife Brooke Logan. However, what if he decides on Taylor Hayes, his ex-wife? Tick or brick? Nick and Taylor had a son named Jack while they were married. However, they didn't. Actually, Jack's mother is Brooke. It's not simple. Tick's marriage became strained when the truth was out since Brooke naturally wanted to spend more time with Jack. Since St. Taylor and Jack didn't click, she handed him to Nick, and the two set out to explore the world. When Nick returns to Los Angeles, what will happen? If the ladies quarrel over him, he will have to face both of his ex-partners and might find it difficult to decide what to do. Nick goes back to LA. Nick's brother, Lothario Ridge Forrester, Torsten K., is the fourth wheel in this scenario. If Tick hit it off again, we can see Ridge getting uncomfortable, and he won't put up with it. He is a complete hypocrite, and we believe that if his sentiments are offended, he will head straight for Brooke. Although Ridge chooses Taylor over Brooke, he might attract attention after the latter's spectacular fashion show incident. Ridge has a lengthy past with him, and she has even pleaded with him to accept her back, but to no effect. Would Nick's comeback alter that? Is Ridge or Tridge your favorite? Does Ridge really mean it when he says he's committed to Taylor? We'll discuss the absurdity of two mature women fighting over a man who has treated them like trash at a later date. Fans of B&B, let us know if you believe Nick should pick Taylor or Brooke. Do you believe Nick should avoid both of these ladies, or is one more appropriate for him? Nick's return to Los Angeles is bound to cause a commotion and jeopardize Tridge's romance. Boundaries are not respected by Eric Forrester. According to teasers for The Bold and the Beautiful, Eric Forrester appears to be going too far. Spoilers for The Bold and the Beautiful reveal that Eric Forrester isn't acting appropriately. This is because he doesn't care about his son Ridge Forrester's romantic life. Even though Ridge declared his desire to be with his other ex, Taylor Hayes, he is telling Brooke Logan, Catherine Kelly Lang, to chase after him since he is the love of her life. However, in the most recent episode, Eric bluntly told his son that he must break up with his girlfriend in order to be with his destiny, which he believes to be Brooke. Is father truly the wisest? The internet has a lot to say about the direction of this plot, as our fans can understand. Eric treats Ridge like a kid because Ridge acts like a kid, some have even said. What percentage of guys live with their fathers? Ridge would be dependent on Brooke and her innovations, or Doc do nothing if it weren't for Eric. I mean, Brooke has children with his father as well, so I'm always confused why the love of his life is also the woman that was sleeping with his father and his kids by his father, wrote another viewer of the show. Spoilers for The Bold and the Beautiful, Eric Forrester should keep his mouth shut. Additionally, this comment was made, she decided to marry him and have those children. It would be only basic courtesy to avoid sleeping with her ex-husband's father, even if he were to leave her. Brooke has consistently acted selfishly. Hope Conception is one example. She knew full well that Bridget was Deacon's wife. Spoilers for The Bold and the Beautiful reveal that Eric Forrester isn't acting appropriately. Fans of B&B will, of course, need to watch every single day to see what happens next. Few names in daytime television have the same emotional weight and background as Dr. Taylor Hayes and Brooke Logan, and one man, Ridge Forrester, is at the core of their long-running feud. Both women seem unable to escape the pull of a man who has repeatedly shown himself unable to provide them with the stability or loyalty they deserve, and they continue to circle Ridge like moths to a flame in spite of innumerable betrayals, marriages, children, and broken promises. But now here they are, caught in his storm once more, blinded by history, nostalgia, and the alluring illusion of destiny. Ever the romantic, Brooke has held on to the idea that she and Ridge are soulmates, bound to be together no matter who gets in the way or how many times he disappoints her. It is a belief that stems from years of shared passion and suffering, reunions and rejections, and the sense that their relationship is unique in some way compared to all of Ridge's previous relationships. The more agonizing reality is that Brooke has confused ordinary upheaval with great love. Despite her knowledge, education, and experience, Taylor keeps falling into the same pattern. She accepts Ridge back into her life when he picks her as his safe place or moral compass, only to watch him return to Brooke when temptation calls. In their quest for Ridge, a man who seldom and never selects them for the right reasons, both women have given up pride, self-worth, and fresh chances for happiness. Ridge's weakness in establishing genuine emotional connections is not a sign of heartlessness. Depending on whatever lady boosts his ego or overlooks his most recent transgression, his love sways like the wind. Furthermore, it is painfully clearer than ever that Ridge feeds on being needed as this most recent scene at Forrester Creations plays out, with both ladies approaching him once more in the hopes of receiving confirmation that they are the one. He seldom ever provides commitment or clarity without being compelled to do so by an outside issue. Taylor uses his hesitancy to strengthen her conviction that perhaps this time she will prevail, that perhaps the years of heartache were paving the way for the redemption arc she deserves, while Brooke continues to see his silence or presence as indications of love. However, both women are ensnared in a same illusion, not just of Ridge's potential but also of their own ability to alter or repair him. Once driven by conviction and passion, their rivalry now reads as tragic, too successful, intelligent women turned into emotional puppets under the control of a man who shouldn't have had this much authority. Although Ridge portrays a hero caught between two passionate loves, the spectator realizes that he is actually choosing comfort, familiarity, and whatever option costs him the least at the time, rather than selecting between women. The reason Brooke and Taylor are blind isn't just because of Ridge's shortcomings, it's also because they can't let go of the illusion they've created about him. In the hopes that it will legitimize the years of heartache and desire, they have made Ridge the focal point of their identity and sense of self-worth. However, it won't. Because genuine affirmation comes from walking away, not from someone who has repeatedly shown that he is incapable of committing. From picking clarity over confusion and tranquility over passion. This unpleasant triangle will persist until one or both of them realize that Ridge is the issue rather than the prize. In the hopes of a different conclusion, they will continue to repeat history. And Ridge will never have to grow up since he is so at ease in the middle of their love. As long as Ridge continues to blind Brooke and Taylor, they will never recognize their own genius or discover a love that doesn't require them to compete, make concessions, or grieve. Ridge has no say in the actual story. The question is whether Taylor or Brooke will ever quit picking him. No matter how much whiskey he gulped down or how many miles he put between himself and the past, the storm of sorrow and need that raged inside torn Ridge's thoughts would not go away. Brooke was a closed chapter, a scar tissue that was best left untreated, he had reminded himself frequently and firmly. Yet here he was, standing in the faint glow of a neon bar sign, his mind circling back to her like a vulture to carrion, his knuckles white over a half-empty glass. He ought not to desire her. Not after the way he had allowed her to leave and the way she had walked away. However, he was discovering that the heart was a traitorous thing, and it was whispering her name like a prayer he was no longer allowed to say. The dream had begun, one of those harsh, vivid ones in which he was near enough to touch her, her laughter enveloping him like sunlight, only to awaken with his hands gripping empty air. Unbidden and unrelenting, the memories then came, Brooke's fingers entwined in his hair, her breath warm against his neck, the way she used to gaze at him as though he were something valuable. By immersing himself in work, fighting, and the embraces of women whose names he wouldn't remember by morning, he had attempted to shake them off. However, none of it was successful. She wasn't any of them. A glance of her across the street, her hair shorter now, her smile a little more reserved, but unmistakably Brooke, was the last twist of the knife tonight. He had been jolted just by the sight of her, a visceral punch of remorse and need and something perilously near hope. He hadn't gone up to her. Couldn't. Would he say anything at all? "I'm sorry I let you go. I apologize for being too cowardly to stand up for you." In his mouth, the words tasted like ash. He couldn't deny the fact that he wanted her back, though, as he sat at the bar with the weight of his own stupidity bearing down on him. In his life, totally, not just in his bed, not only in brief moments. He was frightened by the realization. Because he had to acknowledge his mistake if he wanted her. It required him to confront the rubble he had left behind and have the courage to think that something might still be worth saving. Was she something he deserved? No. Not even close. But when had merit ever been a factor in love? The stronger agony in his chest was not lessened by the whiskey's burn, so he threw back the remainder of his drink. He would go if he were intelligent. He would pursue her if he had the courage. Making wise choices had never been Ridge's forte.